Hi, my name's Ken Miller, and my company is ZOZ Robotics. I started this company, well, our mission statement is to create a parallel universe called the ZOZ. And it contains robots, physical robot games, virtual robot games, esports, competitions, tournaments, apps, movies, and a bunch of other stuff. So I've been self-funding this for the last about 4 years. I started out as a kind of a side project. I worked on it at a full-time job as a consultant at SRI, and worked on this on the side. I've been working on this now full-time for about a year. And there's me. I'm the founder and acting CEO. Went to Berkeley, got a degree in mechanical engineering, and I've been building stuff ever since. My expertise is in robotics, automation, mechanisms, and inventing. And here's some of the projects I've been working on. One of them is a little CD changer. I actually did 2 CD changers. One I started myself, and this one with PowerFile I started with some friends of mine. I worked on some big capital equipment for disk drive cleaning, disk drive sputtering. I don't know if I can show a cursor. No, I can't really show a cursor. So, hang on. Oh man, I messed up now. Okay, wait, sorry. All right, there we go. And I worked on some systems for Novellus. So I've been building stuff for over 40 years in the Silicon Valley. We don't have any employees. It's all, this whole project's been done through consultants.
Ted Morrison.
So some of the key, I don't want to go through all these guys, but some of the key ones are EB2 Global Manufacturing. It's a company in China that a friend of mine owns with his wife and his uncle. His expertise is injection molding and manufacturing. Then local company, Ologic. Ted and then Rob and then Ted Werberg. And then Mobac has been working on our app, and they're also helping us get our simulator back online. I'll get into that a little bit. And then we're working on an advisory board. Right now, Drew is our only member. We're trying to recruit some more. So ZOZ Robotics is basically there's three major components. We have a robot, and we have a stadium, and we have a simulator. The simulator is kind of like a video game, and we're going to first talk about the robot. So it all started when I was sitting at the dining room table and I was contemplating the salt and pepper shakers. And I thought it'd be fun if there was I had a little robot that we could drive around, control with your phone, and push those around and push them off the table. And if everybody had a set of salt and pepper shakers and a little robot, we could play some fun games, kind of like sumo wrestling or cutthroat in pool. And so I started thinking about it a little bit more and started working on some small little robots. The blue ball there is the size of a pool ball, to give you a perspective. And so I thought, well, let's just have a little robot and that would be fine. But we realized that if you wanted to play not just on a dining room table, we realized you could play on a pool table. So if you play on a pool table, you have to make sure your robot doesn't fall in the pocket. So this robot actually was too small. It fell in the pocket. So we started working on it, and my industrial designer, who's actually from Romania, actually in Romania, he suggested we make it round. Instead of having these scallops, he thought that would be too easy. You could capture the ball, and because now we've switched from salt and pepper shakers to balls. I probably forgot to mention that. So now the game is pushing balls around primarily. So I started thinking about, okay, what's a nice round shape? And I came up with, remember this old toy I had, little robot, little battery-powered thing, and spun around a little flying saucer. And so then we started working with that, and we came up with this little design. So that's kind of the first industrial design. And then we also worked on some variations on that. And then we started making prototypes. So this is just a straight round one, not much design to it, but just to get the components in there. You can see those little Omni wheels, I just bought those. And bought some standard little motors, and I think this is a little Arduino controlled thing. We were controlling this with a radio controlled RC, and then on top I just stuck a little badge with some LEDs on it.
What year was this?
This is about 4 years ago, probably. 4 years ago. So about 13, 14, something like that. And here's kind of the next version. You can kind of see the little orange thing is the radio receiver. But this has a little bit more shape than the previous one, so I'm looking more like the industrial design, but still using the same wheels. There's the insides. You can see the layout there with the 3 motors, 3 sets of batteries, and 3 wheels. You can see it's really packed in there. And then I had to make a wheel, so I designed a wheel. The wheels have a ball bearing on each side. If I go back, you can probably see them there. Those are white plastic ball bearings. But each wheel has 2 ball bearings, 1 on each side, and it has actually 20 of those little rollers for the Omni wheel. So here's another little version. I wanted to put little guys, you know, the idea was in that little dome was to put your little avatar, your little character in there and drive around. But I didn't like that short little dome, so I asked my designer to make it a little taller and maybe make it look a little bit like the like St. Peter's. Yeah. So we tried to copy that, and it didn't come out quite exactly. But you kind of go back and forth. You can kind of see it there. It's been elongated at the bottom, so we can get taller avatars inside the dome. And then there's kind of the whole sequence of the 4 robots. This robot here is actually was machined and painted by my guy in China. He does amazing work. And that dome was machined from a solid chunk of plastic, and he polished it.
Where did that one go?
I made 6 of them. It cost me about $10K.
Wow, very nice.
So there it is. And so this is, you know, kind of the whole evolution. Then we started taking it to some shows. We took it to CES in 2016. Tom's Guide picked us as best robot. And then we took it last year. We took it to the Toy Fair, and we got a lot of really good positive feedback. Rocky from Superior Marketing, who's a rep in the southern states, said this is the best thing to come along in years. So it's an Omnibot. It moves and rotates instantaneously in any direction. It's controlled with a smartphone. There's the app. Kind of did a little Jetsons kind of background theme on that. I don't know if you guys want to read all that, but it's basically, you know, for iOS and Android, and then it's modular. We didn't want to just limit it to just simple functionality, so we made it so that the dome comes off and there's an interface on the top and the bottom of the robot that we can add different modules to. So it's actually, we call this a modular technology platform. We can put basically any technology on this robot. So here's the body module. It's too bad I don't have a pointer. I don't know how that works. But on the left you can see the top interface, and on the right you can see the bottom interface. And it has all those components in it. There's a little more detail about the wheel. It's made up of, basically there's 4 tools that were made for that. There's an outer hub and a center hub. And then this overmolded, the little wheel is overmolded with urethane. And we got a ball bearing on each side. And then here's what the electronics look like that's in the body. There's a lower main board which has all the smarts, battery charging, and motor drivers and all that. And then we have a little upper main board that connects with a cable to the lower main. And it has a little USB connector for charging, and it has the pins, or the target pins for connecting to the module above it. And then there's a little IMU PC board for the control that has the accelerometers and the gyros in it, so we can control the direction. Here's, you're not going to be able to see that, but that's the block diagram kind of showing the main blocks. Those yellow bars are the interfaces. showing what pins connect and when they connect and so on. So it's kind of a different configuration depending on what we're connecting. I don't know if you guys are interested in this, but here's the main microprocessor. It's a Nordic chip. I don't have the motor driver chip on there. The IMU chip, we can go into that later if anybody's interested. It's got 3 batteries in it. These are LiPo batteries. Here's the motor. This is kind of an interesting thing. We just had an interesting problem with this. Some of these motors come without the caps. If you can see that picture in the middle there, on the right-hand side, there's no capacitors on that motor.
We hit this on our Kickstarter with a little lot, and it was crashing our IMU.
Yeah, yeah. The robot just totally shuts down. Nothing happens. Like, what the hell's going on? And actually, Wayne from the robotics club, is Wayne here? I didn't see him yet.
No, he's not here tonight.
Wayne's not here.
He
Okay.
couldn't make it.
Oh, that's too bad.
He says his regrets, though. He wanted to be here.
Okay, thanks. Well, he's the one who pointed this out to us. So we started tearing the motors apart and go, holy cow, that's part of the problem. So we use the motors with the capacitors internally, and then we also, on the right there, you can see we added 3 capacitors externally. So that really helped cut down the noise, and we haven't had any problems since. Let's see, here's some firmware software stuff. Basically, we're looking for some help in that area, so this is sort of what do you call it? Thank you. Thanks for helping. Everybody chime in when I get stuck. I have a habit of getting stuck. So that's so we're looking for some. We're still looking for help. We still need a lot of help. Here's the packaging. I'll go through this quick. Not very interesting, but there's the top of the box on the left and the side. We're gonna make it real simple. It's a cube. It's about 10 inches cube, and we're gonna put the same side graphics on each side. On the bottom will be all the legal stuff. And then here's how the box goes. You start with a box, and you take the lid off, and the robot will be exposed. You take that out, and when you turn the lid over, and there's room for some tennis balls or balls inside there, because it really is designed to play games with pushing balls around. So then you take the robot off in this little package, and then you get to where the user manual is and the quick start guide. You take those out, and there's a little box with accessories, and then we have some other modules that we're going to provide with the robot, a hack module, and then we have some little bases that go into in the dome to hold the avatars. And then you can see in the utility box, we'll have some extra antennae, because those tend to break off if you drop it. A little USB cable, so we'll give some spares, and then a few little avatars there.